Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Speechless on YouTube today, not live on the radio. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We got a lot to get to, but I want to start off today's episode by saying today's episode is brought to you by Paul Garcia Productions out of Normal, Illinois. Paul Garcia Productions creates stunning and effective videos and commercials for Central Illinois businesses. Visit paulgarciaproductions.com to learn more and help your business get more business. Again, the reason why I got a better camera now, the reason why a lot of my production value continues to go up, because of Paul Garcia Productions. So if you want to check out more about Paul Garcia Productions, go to paulgarciaproductions.com. You can go into the link that's in the comments section of this or in the description of this video. Feel free to check it out after the show. Obviously, again, this show is brought to you by Paul Garcia Productions. Great guy and absolutely does amazing work across the board in terms of production. So let's get to the topics of the day, though. Satan is making a comeback. I mean, we saw it at I believe it was the Grammys. Sam Smith decided to dress up as Satan. One of the biggest songs of the year was Unholy. We've seen Satan imagery come back a lot recently, and it's kind of scary, and it's not in the same way that it used to be. It's not AC/DC's Highway to Hell. It's just not the same. It's a lot scarier now, everybody. And we have a lot to cover with that with the Satancon 2023. And I'm going to get to all that. But first, you're watching Speechless, and I'm Kev Phares. Thank you guys for joining me today. We're going to cover all things Satan. I got a few different stories to cover, but primarily this whole idea of Satan and Satanism in the 21st century. Because it doesn't seem the same as, like I said, Highway to Hell and kind of some of the cultural issues of the past. I will be full. I mean, I wear a cross here every day. I'm a Catholic. I'll be straight with that. And I'd love to talk more about, I know people even Christians have objections to Catholicism and everything. But let's talk about what this Satanism is today. I started off looking into all this and what Satanism today is. With the school Satan club. This broke today, or maybe it was yesterday, but according to the New York Post, a Pennsylvania school district must allow an after-school Satan club, according to a judge. A federal judge ruled this week that a Pennsylvania school district must allow a Satanist club to meet, citing the group's First Amendment rights. U.S. District Judge John M. Gallagher wrote in a Monday filing that Satancon Valley School District violated the after-school Satan club's free speech privileges when it rescinded its agreement to let the group meet on school grounds, the Morning Call reported. The club, which is sponsored by the Satanic Temple, had its official approval revoked earlier this year after its promotional flyers caused a stir in the Lehigh Valley community. Lehigh, I don't know. The National ACLU, the ACLU of Pennsylvania, and the Deckert LLP subsequently sued the district on behalf of the Satanic Temple in March. The Hill reported. Here, although the Satanic Temple Inc.'s objectors may challenge the sanctity of this controversially named organization, the sanctity of the First Amendment's protections must prevail, Gallagher reasoned in his decision. So this is all about the First Amendment to these people. And so I want to share, this is the flyer, which is in the New York Post. I'm going to share this. I'm going to make sure the audio doesn't come through, but this Pennsylvania school district must allow, here is the flyer that is shown. So, hey kids, let's have some fun at after school Satan club. Hey kids, I'm going to read it as if I'm like a Saturday morning cartoon. Okay. So let's, I'm going to get this full screen so I can review this flyer. First off, I'd like to point out that this flyer is horribly made. It is not very, I'm a marketing major, right? I go to Illinois State University. I'm a double major in marketing and political science. I'll tell you right now, this flyer is horribly made. It does not scream exactly what it's about or anything. It's got too much information, not enough pictures. Besides the point. Saturday morning cartoon version of so it's the Satanic Temple After School Satan Club. Hey kids, let's have fun at After School Satan Club. Science and community service projects, puzzles and games, nature activities, arts and crafts, snacks, and tons of fun. Parents, your child will learn benevolence and empathy, critical thinking, problem solving, creative expression, personal sovereignty, and compassion. The Satanic Temple is a non-theistic religion. Let's start there. Okay, so they claim to be non-theistic. They're a non-theistic religion. What that would mean is that they do not believe in a higher power. They do not believe in God. So then why the satanic imagery? Let's keep going. That views Satan as a literary figure who represents a metaphorical construct of rejecting tyranny and championing the human mind and spirit. After School Satan Club does not attempt to convert your children to any religious ideology. Instead, the Satanic Temple supports children to think for themselves. All after-school Satan clubs are based on activities centered around the 7 fundamental tenets and emphasize a scientific, rationalist, non-superstitious worldview. Okay, so they claim scientific and rationalist. This is obviously, it lists dates, times, and such. Apparently, they have a meeting coming up on May 10th. Maybe I should try to make it. But I don't think I'll be able to make it to. It's also in Hellertown, which is kind of a, I don't know, kind of funny. Hellertown, Pennsylvania. Look, again, how will you, so they got all these ideas for the club. It's a permission slip, so at least parents have to sign off as to whether or not you can go. But this is the whole like picture and everything. It's terrifying. I would have been terrified for that as a kid. But we'll keep going with this. So while he rejected the district's claim that the Satanic Club violated official advertising policies, he did prohibit the group from distributing permission slips and flyers because the school no longer permitted the practice. As part of the judge's ruling, the district must allow the after-school Satan Club to meet on 3 previously selected days. The first gathering is set for next week. This ruling sends a powerful message that the First Amendment protects the viewpoints and beliefs of all people and faiths. Sarah Rose, legal director of the ACLU of Pennsylvania, said in a statement. Okay, here's the thing. So I am pro First Amendment. Heck, I even believe that the Satan Club has a right to exist, right? But I do have a few problems with their advertising because it's false advertising. Because they claim that they're non-theistic. They claim that they do not believe that Satan is simply just a literary figure. So this is actually an atheist club. By that standard, if you assume that they're telling the truth when they say they're non-theistic, it's an atheist club. That's the first point. And then they also say, the ACLU director said that it needs to respect of people of all faiths. Well, you don't have any faith if you are an atheist club, a non-theistic club, right? It doesn't make any sense. These people are backwards in the things that they're saying and the way that they're thinking. They are backwards. Continuing, there's also, while I don't have any issue with free speech, they have every right to exist. They have every right to say the things they want to say. There are things that should and should not be allowed at certain grade levels. For example, you should not have clubs regarding adult content for young children. And what do I mean by this? Well, a lot of what the Satan, and I'll get into this a little bit later, but some of what the things that the Satan Club has to preach have to do with gender and sexual immorality. And I have a problem if they have anything like that being taught to young children. But let's keep going with Satancon. So that was the big story that set a lot of this off yesterday. But Satancon 2023 happened last weekend. And I'm going to go back far to January 8th, when they announced that Satancon was happening. So January 8th, according to Fox News, the Satanic Temple dedicated, quote, largest satanic gathering in history to Boston mayor, and they will require masks. So the Satanic Temple is dedicating the largest satanic gathering in history to Democratic Boston mayor Michelle Wu after the group wasn't allowed to deliver a satanic invocation at Boston City Hall. Satancon 2023 took place in downtown Boston, April 28th through 30th, so just last weekend, and registered guests are required to wear masks and show proof of a COVID-19 vaccination. Why do you have to wear a mask and show we're out of COVID? So is that a thing of Satanists that you have to be pro COVID tyranny? See, here's the thing is so I read in their last article or in their advertisement that they're not pro tyranny. They're very anti-tyranny. But you have to have gotten a COVID vaccination and wear a mask to this. So in a way, aren't they also tyrannical? The theme of the gathering and the celebration of the Satanic Temple's 10-year anniversary is Hexenacht in Boston, which is German for Witches' Night. Okay, super weird. Let's look at I have a video here that shows an advertisement for Satancon from Fox News. Let's take a look at this video here. I cannot hear it. I don't know if you guys can. Coming to Boston, April 28th through 30th. Satancon. Oh, it's because I don't have it in there. Wow, I'm so smart, everybody. Very sorry if you guys were looking for that for that video. I was just trying to share my screen and I didn't put it in there. Here we go. Let's get back to this right here. So there's obviously that. They have the video right here. It's not loading for me now. View this post on Instagram. Okay, I'm going to remove that one. Stop sharing. I'm going to share my different screen. Very sorry about the technical difficulties. I do this live, everybody. So if you're just tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. Talking all about Satancon now and this whole hullabaloo. Here it is. Satanic wedding chapel. Insane. Satanic temple, and they use obviously a lot of satanic imagery. Kind of insane to me that they do all that. But I really I just don't understand a lot of this because, like I said, like I showed in the last in that advertisement, they claim to be non-theistic, meaning that they don't believe in a god or a higher power, and they claim to see Satan as a literary figure. Let's go to their website. I'm still trying to figure out and learn more about what this satanic temple is, right? So let's go to their website and read all about them. I'm going to share my screen for this one too, because I just think, because again, I want to point out they use all this satanic imagery, right? Um, they use all this satanic imagery, but then claim they're non-theist. So the mission of the Satanic Temple is to encourage benevolence and empathy, reject tyrannical authority, advocate practical common sense, oppose injustice, and undertake noble pursuits. You're funny, Satanic Temple. You're very funny because, again, they say reject tyrannical authority. Well, to go to SatanCon 2023, you had to have gotten a COVID vaccine and wear a mask to it. That's tyrannical authority. The Satanic Temple, we have publicly confronted hate groups, fought the abolition of corporal punishment in public schools, applied for equal representation when religious installations are placed on public property, provided religious exemption and legal protection against laws that unscientifically restrict people's reproductive autonomy. That's a very long way to say we like to kill babies. Exposed harmful pseudoscientific practitioners in mental health care. I don't know exactly what they mean by that, but if I'm using my context clues, I would believe that exposing harmful pseudoscientific practitioners in mental health care is likely them fighting against people that don't believe in gender affirmation care, meaning that they don't want people they don't want people that are going to be a therapist and then tell people, oh, you know what, that delusion you have that you're a woman when you were born a man, yeah, that's okay. They like that. They don't want people that are going to tell the truth. Organized clubs alongside other religious after school clubs in schools besieged by proselytizing organizations and engaged in other advocacy in accordance with our tenets. Okay, then we're going to go through these 7 fundamental tenets here. But I want to point out here a lot of this that they say here. So so they fight for equal representation when religious installations are placed on public property, and then they also come here. They organize clubs alongside other religious after school clubs in schools. So here's what I want to start off with this is that what the Satanic Temple is trying to frame themselves as kind of is a counterculture group, or not necessarily even counterculture. strictly just they disagree. They're contrarians. That's what they're trying to frame themselves as. They're trying to frame themselves as contrarians. They're saying, "Oh, we see all this religious stuff in society. We see people that want to have the Ten Commandments in schools. We see people that want to stress the ideas of the Bible and in anything. And they say that is so bad. We need to offer an alternative because we don't like religion. And so what they're going to do is they're going to take the opposite of Christian religion, Satanism, and use the images and everything to try to say to push this contrarian ideology, to say we offer an alternative to Christian groups. We make it so that not everything in a state capital around Christmas time is of Christian descent and everything. And so the point that they're doing here, or what they're doing, is they're saying we're contrarian, and I'd have no problem with them if they simply came out and said, we're not Christians, and we think that there should be alternatives to Christian clubs after school. But that's not what they're saying. They're coming out and having very, very disturbing imagery, against satanic imagery, to try to push this agenda, this contrarian agenda. They try to sell themselves as if they're strictly contrarian, but I firmly believe as a Catholic that this is Satan's work, because it seems very satanic to me, not only in the overt imagery and everything, but it also seems satanic to gaslight people and say, no, we don't believe in like the real Satan and everything. We're non-theistic. We just believe in Satan as a literary figure. We just believe him as a literary figure. And so we're going to use him for all these contrarian things. That's what they try to sell themselves as, at least on this. So let's look at their 7 fundamental tenets. So we start off with, one should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason. That's super vague. In accordance with reason. What do they mean by in accordance with reason? So compassion and empathy towards all creatures. It's super vague. Like, it doesn't actually tell you. Like, you want to know the difference is love thy neighbor as you would love thyself. First commandment, right? A lot more specific than this. One should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason. It sounds like it's trying to take a very, very vague stance on the golden rule, right? Treat everyone with kindness. Super, super vague. The struggle for justice is number 2. The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. Okay. The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. So they're saying that justice needs to be taken out of the law, or law does not always represent justice. And so thus you should fight for justice even outside of what the laws say. Interesting. One's body is invoidable, subject to one's own will alone. Agreed. However, the Satanic Temple says that you need to get a COVID vaccine to attend their Satancon, and they also are very pro-abortion, which we'll get to later. Number 4, the freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forego one's own. Interesting. Beliefs should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's belief. Ironic. Remember that. One should take care not to distort scientific facts to fit one's belief. People are fallible. If one makes a mistake, one should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm that might have been caused. So apologize. Every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word. So words don't matter. It's about these spirits. Interesting. The Satanic Temple. So here's the thing that everybody wants to know. The Satanic Temple versus the Church of Satan. Satanic Temple has been the primary religious satanic organization in the world, with congregations internationally and a number of high-profile public campaigns designed to preserve and advance secularism. Again, secularism. Secularism is Satan's playground. This is why we need to recognize the inherent fact that America is a Christian nation. And no, I'm not out here saying, I'm not trying to say that America is only Christian, that you have to be a Christian to be an American. That's not true. However, the fundamental ideas of America's founding are Christian. Faith is at the bedrock of America's strength. In our Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson famously wrote that our rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are endowed by our Creator. The term Creator was used pretty specifically. It wasn't necessarily say that it needed to be a Christian God. It could be the Jewish God. Could be another God that is yet to reveal himself. But it's the idea of a creator. A secular society does not exist when there is a creator and when there is an inherent creator. From that first day of the great American experiment, God was at the forefront. It is undeniable that Judeo-Christian values and scripture heavily influenced our founding documents. What needs to be recognized is that God is our protector. A world in which our rights are not derived from God grants that power, the power to give us rights, to the state. A government that can give you everything, a government, and when we take out God from that equation, that God grants us our rights, and then government grants us our rights, those rights can be taken away by that very same government. God stands in the way of tyranny, despite the fact that the Satanic Temple seems to claim that they stand against tyranny. God actually stands in the way of tyranny. Without God, there is no freedom. There isn't, because God gives us our rights in our Constitution. Even if you don't believe in God, even if you don't, the thing is that without government, if there is no God, then government is your God. If you live in a secular society, if you live in a society that says there is no God, God doesn't exist, then government is then your God, because it's the only thing more powerful than you out there. If you even see anything more powerful than you out there, because if you want to live in a world that laws don't exist, like these Satanists say in their tenets, that justice is more important than laws, whatever the heck that means, then there's nothing more powerful than you out there, because at the end of the day, you're just going to do whatever you want, despite the government saying that there are some limits, or there should be some limits. The primary threat to America, honestly, is a secular society. Satan, the Satan we believe in, loves a secular society. He loves. So even though the Satanic Temple claims to be non-theistic, Satan loves the idea of just staying away from religion altogether. He doesn't need people to praise him. His main goal is for people to stray away from God. That is the primary threat to America. Preaching this religion, and I've talked about it before, it's a religion of anti-religion. What I mean by that is through the perversion of the Establishment Clause. So the Establishment Clause saying that there is not a national religion. Leftists and progressives have claimed that the separation of church and state indicates that God mustn't be mentioned, let alone even thought about, within the public sector. And these Satanists claim that, well, if you're going to mention God, then you have to mention Satan. Because they live in a secular society, which none of that matters anyways to them. None of it does. Any discussion of trusting God's word is condemned by the left as a conspiracy theory. So much so that unelected three-letter agencies, I don't know if you guys heard about this one, but like the FBI targets Catholic churches. It came out a few weeks ago. Biden's FBI targets Catholic churches for extremism. Oh, sorry, J. Edgar Hoover. I was just praying the rosary. These idiots. That is the religion that I'm talking about, the religion of anti-religion. This religion, they are religious in the fact that they are preaching and praying to this idea that you cannot be religious whatsoever. And if you are going to be, they're going to be satanic. They are going to bring the Satanic Temple to you. The Satanic Temple is not a religious organization, not a faith organization. Inherently, it's not. They're a secular organization that preaches a dystopian, or not dystopian, just a twisted religion of anti-religion, but it's not inherently religious. So frankly, the idea that they have of the Establishment Clause, that everybody needs to follow this secular society, it's a gross misrepresentation, and it's infected my generation especially, but also millennials, and even some that are older than that, but it's consistently rising. It is now to a fashion statement, and again, I've talked about this before, it's a fashion statement to be anti-Christian, to be against Christianity. And why do I say just Christianity? Okay, well, let's go to Satancon, right? What happened this last weekend? This last weekend, Satancon took place. I'm going to get to some of your guys' comments, I swear. But I just have kind of a train of thought I'm trying to go through. But Satancon happened this last weekend, 28th through the 30th. Happened in Boston. there is this video that was going around, and I found like a longer version of it to make sure we could see all of it, in which um, some of the people at it in their opening ceremony had this girl that was like ripping up the Bible and crap. Let's just watch this.
Opposition, and we stand here today in defiance of their siege and destroy their symbols of oppression. Symbols of oppression.
They're gonna rip up the Bible. She's disgusting. She's disgusting. That's your justice warriors, everybody. Those are your social justice warriors. Oh man, being pro police, being pro laws. Not I, said the Satanists. No, I cannot be pro laws. They say. Oh my gosh. Wow, they're so strong. They're so strong for being able to do all that. They're so strong. Okay, so they ended up this Freedom News TV ended up following up with that girl, asking about what that meant, what that whole them saying "Hail Satan" and all that crap, what that actually meant to them. And so here I have that video too of her explaining that, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about this explanation she has. Here is that video.
Destroy the symbols of the things that are caused to, or that cause harm, that oppress us, whether that is people's theocratic views, trying to instill theocratic rule in a supposed secular society.
We're not a secular society, you idiot.
Court utilizing their powers to decimate our rights, give power to those who are further taking our rights away from us. The symbol of the flag.
What rights are being taken away from you? What right in the Constitution? Where does it say a right that has been taken away? Show me. Because the Supreme Court, as she mentioned earlier, the Supreme Court doesn't decide what a right is. You want to know what decides a right is? 1, the Bill of Rights. 2, part of the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are in that. 3, an amendment, because the 9th Amendment claims that the 9th Amendment says that while there could be rights that are not recognized yet that need to be added, and so an amendment could talk about a right, but that would have to go through Congress and also be justified, and then also have to go through the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court does not decide your rights. Abortion wasn't a right. What the Supreme Court decided in the most recent case that they're trying to get at when it came to abortion, what the Supreme Court decided is that Roe v. Wade was wrong, that there was never a right to abortion, period. That for 50 years, the government lied to you. The government told you that you might have had a right to abortion. What they decided is that that right to abortion never existed, period. Anyways, let's keep going with her explanation.
Was meant to represent the communities that the people in authoritative positions that use that to cause harm to those who need the most protection. They indoctrinate them into their worldviews based on fear and hatred.
We just had our opening ceremony, and it seemed to be very well received. We've got over 800 people registered to attend, and we've got panel discussions and presenters starting probably any minute now.
Destroy the symbol.
Oh my God, look at all them with their masks on and everything. And they say that we are indoctrinators. They say we are indoctrinators. And they got all their masks on. You had to wear a mask to be at this event. You had to be vaccinated. And they're destroying symbols of oppression. She says, symbols of oppression. You can't have the Bible because the Bible is so oppressive. You want to actually tell you why that's false. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. Look, is it oppressive to say I can do things and I have strength because of what I believe in, because I have something that I do believe in that's higher than myself? These people that are they have become so vehemently against religion that they claim to be, they're really just atheists. They're atheists in cosplay. That's what they are. And Satan, don't get me wrong, Satan does love them, but they aren't preaching Satan's word. They aren't preaching Satan's word. They're out here pretending to be these Satanists simply because they think it'll make us really angry and everything. I think these people are just trolls, a lot of them. I think it's worth talking about what they're doing though, because they're trying to get into schools and everything with this ideology, and get to our children, and they want to claim that we're indoctrinators, right? Here's the real thing: is that religion gives people a purpose. Right? Religion gives people purpose. And the Bible is whether or not you even are a Christian, the Bible has answers to pretty much all of life's problems in some way. It does, absolutely. And again, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, Philippians 4:13. And this scripture is usually oftentimes used to exalt profound accomplishment. So like when somebody does something really cool or really good for themselves, or just even something that's miraculous in some way, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But we must also recognize that inverse could also be true. I can do nothing without him. And what I mean by that exactly, if I can do nothing without him, that means you will not find a purpose. You will not have your greater purpose fulfilled without some level of faith in your life. There's a clear correlation between a faith-based society and a happy populace. According to Pew Research, religious affiliation has dropped 30% since the 1990s. I've talked about this on the show before. Religious affiliation has dropped 30% since the 1990s. Simultaneously, Generation Z, my generation, is 3 times as likely to say that their challenges are so severe that they thought they might be better off dead. Again, Generation Z is 3 times as likely to say their challenges are so severe that they thought they might be better off dead. Sounds really flippin' dramatic to me. Because it's not really. Here's the thing: is so like today, Generation Z, what challenges do we have? Oh man, Stacy got the best new iPhone and I don't have that one. Sucks. Oh man, this really pretty girl posted a picture on Instagram, or this jacked dude posted a picture on Instagram, makes me feel self-conscious about my body. Dude, that sucks. My life is so hard. Man, I got an essay that's due. Oh man, my boss is trying to tell me I have to go into work. That's so bogus. What challenges do we have? We're not in the Great Depression, although the economy isn't in a good state either, but that's a different story. It's not the same kind of Great Depression that we had in the 1930s. We're not getting drafted and sent off to a war. We don't have a rampant disease that's killing off 50% of the population. What challenges do we have that are so hard? No, it's not a problem of challenges that are so severe. It's the lack thereof. It's the fact that we're not actually challenged. And I'm not saying that we need a plague, we need a war, we need anything like that, but it's the fact that we don't challenge ourselves even. When you don't believe that there's nothing more powerful than you out there, like a God, then virtually nothing challenges you, because you could challenge yourself through Christ. You could do fasts, days of prayer. There are challenges that God sets before us. But you have to recognize that there is a plan set forth by God to also then realize challenge. If there's nothing out there that challenges you because there's nothing higher than you, then self-servance becomes of utmost importance. You're working a selfish lifestyle. An everlasting vanity yields no fulfillment. And this sentiment has become emblematic of a lot of my generation. There is hope, though. We've seen revivals and everything go on, and there are some people that are starting to once again look into Christ, or just even look into religion, period. There's other videos from the Satancon that we should maybe look at. There was an unbaptism ceremony, which is, I'm not even going to show it. It's not even worth the time. It's just stupid. A lot of this is stupid. But the next thing I do want to show, though, is I found the agenda for Satancon, right? And this is what's really interesting to me. Again, this is the Satanic Temple. They are secular, but also use religious imagery for the purpose of being shocking. I have, like I said, their lineup of everything that happened over this last weekend. And so why don't we take a look at the Satanic Temple's lineup for their conference? Okay, so Friday, April 28th, they have an opening ceremony. They have Satanic Panic in Brazil, whatever that is. Hellbillies, visible Satanism in rural America. So again, they're trying to infiltrate every area of the world. Struggle for Justice, TST campaign updates, the Satanic Temple's campaign updates, a Satanic Ball. And Saturday, decade retrospective, deconstructing your religious upbringing. So basically just indoctrinating you to not believe whatever you were raised as. Again, once again, this is about creating a secular society, which is, again, exactly what Satan wants, but it's not, this organization is not inherently, like, they're not going out praising Satan. They're praising a secular society because a secular society is great for the devil. Get anything that gets you away from God is great from the devil. Reclaiming the trans body, atheistic strategies. So transgenderism is also now, I had somebody, so I had a video the other day that went a little viral. I don't know if you guys saw. Thank you guys for checking that out. It has over 4,000 views, got a lot of subscribers. If you're new, thank you guys so much for joining me on Speechless. But I had a video and it was about Dylan Mulvaney, and I had somebody comment on it, that God is loving and God loves all, and that God would preach to be accepting of Dylan Mulvaney and his identity and all this stuff. And that I'm a bad person. They said they sat up on their high pedestal and said that you're a bad person. They pray for me because I'm not willing to accept Mulvaney's delusion. And to which I responded to them, the book of Genesis, I believe it's Genesis 1:14, something like that, maybe Genesis 14:1. I might be mixing up with the numbers. But God created man and woman. He created them, not men and women, or male and female. He didn't create non-binary. He didn't create somebody that somebody that can change from one to the other. No, that's not what he did. He created male and female. And so I told that person, I don't know what you're talking about. God would not want his children to be mutilating themselves. Period. End of story. And this person, again, like I said, sat on their high pedestal and told me that I was a hateful person. But anyways, this just proves them wrong even more. The Satanic Temple, even if it's just secular, they preach the transgender and gender ideology. They also have sins of the flesh, Satanism, and self-pleasure. So obviously they are discussing masturbation in that one. Reimagining Lilith, an archetype of reproductive justice. Again, abortion. They claim that abortion is a part of this Satanist organization. I don't understand. If you want to try to, because here's the thing. Again, this is a movement for a secular society. And if people really wanted to move to a secular society, why would they make their marketing all about Satan? Because if these people are genuinely secular, like they don't believe in any kind of religious, don't want to preach a religion, then you would think that what they would want to do is simply push a general ideology of, hey, you don't need to have any religion to be a good person or to live a good lifestyle. No, they're specifically pushing Satan, which is how I know that Satan and the devil actually has his hands on these people. Because these people it's really hateful if you really think about it, because they're so hateful that they're like, not only are we going to preach that you don't have to be religious, we're going to preach that you don't have to be religious by using the disgusting and evil imagery of the anti-Christian beliefs, right? And I also want to point out again that it's anti-Christian. God forbid, pun intended, God forbid they get up on that stage and tear up a Quran. I'm not going to get up on that stage and tear up a Quran. You want to know why? Because it's not even just about being secular to them. That's how I know they are pushed by Satan, is because they're not preaching just, they claim secularism, but they're preaching anti-Christianity. You should not be Christian. Back to this. So reproductive justice. I'm going to talk a little bit about abortion. There's an interesting law that came out of Illinois recently, and we're going to talk about that. But Satanism and the BIPOC experience. So the whole racial issues and everything is also pushed by the Satan group. Sober Faction presents. I don't know if that actually has to be with not drinking alcohol, but I'm sure that they all had Bud Light at this event. Wouldn't surprise me. The devil is in all of you. The changing face of Satan in cinema. BIPOC body modification in satanic culture. Oh my God. It's just pandemonium. 5,000 years of demonology. Digging up devils. Satanic murder cult in 1985. This is a lot of crap. They want a lawless society that is far away from God, that allows people to do whatever they want at any time. It's gross. It is just gross, period. And so wrapping up the whole idea of Satancon, are they winning? Yes. The Satanists are winning, but not, like I said, it's not the Satanists. It's not the Salem witch trials, Satanists, the occult in that sense. It's the cult of secularism. Because even these Satanists, even the Church of Satan, or the Satanic Temple, claims and tells everybody that they're just about secularism. And they're using secularism and the idea that of a non-religious society to preach a religion that's inherently religious. It is inherently a religion to say that it is inherently religious to say that we cannot have a religion. It's preaching a religion of we need to love government. And even they're not saying we need to love government. We need to love ourselves. That's the thing. They're preaching a religion of self-servants. And it is inherently anti-Christian, anti-God, and pro-Satan. Even though they won't sell it to you as pro-Satan, because I don't believe that the majority of them are inherently Satan worshipers, if that makes sense. Like, they're not out here, they're not going out and saying they love Satan because they actually believe in that level of the occult and everything like that. No, they're more so contrarians and trolls and sad individuals, mentally disturbed individuals that claim that they don't want tyranny, but they don't want you to believe in God. Why are they winning? Because now, in many states, abortion's on demand. Not just the idea of having an abortion in a doctor's office running. Mifepristone is legal in a lot of places. A drug that you take to just chemically induce an abortion, even at home. They have the trans ideology infecting our children, in which doctors in some states are now allowed to mutilate children through hormone therapy, through, in some cases, surgeries. They're winning, everybody. And we need to stand up to it. Because while I write it off in a little way that this is kind of a joke, because the people are kind of a joke, because they're not, like I said, out here actually preaching the occult, they are winning. They are. But there are some instances of hope. And that's what I want to get to next, is Danville, Illinois. Many of you might not have heard of Danville, but I did, because it's kind of near where I live now. Danville, Illinois. I'm just going to, so you guys can get a general idea, I'm going to play this video. It's a news update that gives a general understanding of what is going on with Danville, Illinois. Here we go. So here is the update of what's going on in Danville, Illinois, small town, Illinois.
New since 6, banning the shipment and receiving of abortion pills and supplies to Danville. The controversial ordinance before the city council tonight.
People from Indiana to Texas came to the city council meeting to make their voices heard. WAND's Sierra Rucker brings us the latest from this heated meeting.
Separation of church and state. A fiery topic.
So I'm going to start off with that separation of church and state. I am religious, but my opinion on abortion is not related to religion in any way, shape, or form. In fact, here's the real quick way that you can debunk abortion without using anything about faith. Yes, God doesn't want abortion, period. But the way that you debunk it, one, there's a study, University of Chicago did it a few years ago, polled over 5,000 biologists, asked them, when does life begin? The majority of respondents identified as Democrats, and also said 96% of those biologists said that life begins at conception. Life begins at conception. 96% of them, the majority of them Democrats, 96%, life begins at conception. Okay, so biology states life begins as soon as the haploids become a zygote. The sperm comes with the egg. That's when life begins. Second, what is murder? Or even manslaughter? Mainly murder, though. The forceful taking of another's life. Okay, so if life begins at conception and taking somebody's life is considered murder, abortion is murder by that standard. Secondly, there's the Unborn Victims Act of the early 2000s. I think it might have been 2005, something like that. Unborn Victims Act of 2005 stated that if a pregnant woman is murdered, then the defendant or the person who murdered her would then be charged with a double homicide. If he's charged with the double homicide, then that means our legal system already recognizes that the unborn child is just that, an unborn child, and not a lifeless fetus, as the left would try to tell you. Separation of church and state. Yes. One, it's not mentioned in the Constitution at all. I believe somebody in here said that. The separation of church and state was not explicitly said that there needs to be a separation of church and state. I think Jim might have said that. Thank you, Jim, if that was you. Or it could have been Andy. Thank you guys so much, all of you, for tuning in. But even if you want to claim that the separation of church and state is a necessity, abortion does not need to be, is not justified, or is not, being pro-life is not justified just by the church. It's also justified by the state as well. So anyways, let's keep going. Learn more about what's going on in Danville, Illinois.
For the city of Danville. Last week, the Public Service Committee voted to move the ordinance forward to ban shipment and receiving of abortion pills and supplies in the city of Danville, causing controversy throughout the community.
It is about preserving life. It is about preserving the sanctity of human life.
If you choose to support this ordinance, we hope you have a plan for your seats.
This potential ban sparked reactions from people in Indiana to
Idiot.
Texas, many calling this push illegal with state laws.
It is plainly in violation of Illinois law. In 2019, the Illinois General Assembly passed the Illinois Reproductive Health Act that says that municipalities like Danville cannot interfere with people's access to abortion care.
State Attorney General Kwame Raoul also sent a letter to Danville Mayor Ricky Williams Jr., urging the council to reject the ban, saying it violates state laws. James Simons with the city's legal division also says legally it does not add up.
I do not believe under Illinois law or federal law that this ordinance is legal,
Potentially opening doors for lawsuits against the city.
To be clear, this ordinance will not result in limiting abortion care in Danville. It will, as you have been warned, result in you and the taxpayers of Danville paying significant legal fees and costs when this ordinance is successfully challenged.
In Danville, Sierra Rucker, WAND News.
The result of the vote just happened. 7 voted yes, 7 no. So
7 voted yes, 7 no. The decision was ultimately made by the mayor, which voted to ban mifepristone sales in that town. Again, it's not going to hold up. Highly likely it's not. For anybody that's not in Illinois, one, we have the most, I don't necessarily know about California and New York, but I would make the argument that Illinois has the most perverse abortion laws compared to any other state, bar none. You can, under the age of 18, in Illinois, you can get, devil is weak. He only has the power to get power people give him. Absolutely 100%. I accidentally clicked that, but keep going with this. In Illinois, you can be under 18 and get an abortion without parents' permission. It's a law in Illinois. We have the most perverse abortion laws in Illinois, period. And as soon as now that I'm starting to talk about it, YouTube is going to start pushing it down. I'm probably not going to be able to make a short out of this, because if I did, it would get only like 5 views, because YouTube doesn't like when I talk about abortion for some reason. And anybody out there, if you're watching after this airs, I don't think anybody in here is one of my haters. But if you are, and you're saying, well, you're a straight white guy and you're a man, you shouldn't have an opinion on abortion. Well, to that, I say, for the purpose of this discussion, I identify as a woman. That's what I'll do, so that we can talk about what abortion actually is. It's murder, period. But great for Danville. They are likely open to lawsuits on this, because it does likely violate Illinois law. The Illinois law is wrong. I'm not saying that we should simply, Connor's here. You are a critic. I'm not a hater. I agree. You're not the people I was talking about. But Illinois law we have the most perverse abortion laws. This likely will not hold up. I'm glad that Danville did it so that we could challenge the Illinois law. And I don't think that we should just simply bypass Illinois law entirely and live in a lawless society. We should make the Illinois laws so that it does not violate the rights of the unborn. But alas, I'm not in that position of power, and nor does Illinois have even close to a Republican or Republican stronghold to be able to do that. But thank God Danville is taking some level of stand to try to go against state law and show how crazy our laws are here. Also, it's just a good idea in principle in the fact this is just how I believe government should work. And it's how the majority of the founders believe government should work too. And is that the federal government has power over a few things that the federal government needs to have power for. The federal government should have power over foreign relations, military, and a few other things, maybe obviously a little bit of taxation, some interstate commerce, not necessarily to the point of what it's gotten to now, but stuff like that. State government should have more power in terms of laws and things that happen there. Understanding what the citizens need more, maybe a state police, maybe a state military of some kind, a little, and some funding to localities. The majority of power should come at your locality, right? The majority of power on the things that impact your life on the day-to-day should come from your locality. So it is my personal belief that while a state might want to believe that abortion should be legal statewide, a county should be able to, or county or a locality, a city, town, whatever, should be able to opt out of that. That's how our country was originally made to be. Alas, we have people at the federal government that want to continuously expand their power, both Republicans and Democrats, that have made it so it can't work that way. But that's how it goes. Good for Danville, though. Proud of them. Governor Pritzker also did respond to this in a tweet. A statement from Governor Pritzker, he said, Illinois respects a woman's right to choose in every corner of the state, and the passage of this illegal ordinance will not change that. When I signed the Reproductive Health Act in 2019, it codified protections for reproductive health care into state law. That law explicitly prohibits local governments from passing ordinances, legislation restricting abortion rights. If this ordinance ever took effect, it would clearly violate the Reproductive Health Act. I will fight for every woman, blah, 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 blah. One, it's not pro-woman to be pro-abortion. If I was a man that I am a man, but if I was a man that wanted to just sleep around and never have to pay for a consequence of hurting women by just using them as sexual objects, I would love abortion. If that's the kind of man I was, I would love abortion because it would make it so I never have to reap the consequences of my poor actions. Abortion takes away all commitment that anybody should have to have. It's insane. So it doesn't support women, first off. Secondly, it's funny how when the topic of abortion comes up, the left always seems to know what a woman is at that point. And then thirdly, he talks about, I'm sorry, I wanted to reread this. The law explicitly prohibits local governments from passing ordinances. That's just a problem. We need to make sure that our local governments have the opportunity to go against things. So I'm looking at the comments here too. Problem is that the 10th Amendment says that power goes to the state and then to the people. Yes, kind of, but that's the way, but from the federal government, that's the way it works. What should happen is, because the federal government is saying that, okay, so it goes down to the state because that's like the second largest in terms of the state is the second largest body, shouldn't necessarily be the largest in power, but the largest body in terms of how much they represent, the state represents. And then what the state should be doing is having a 10th Amendment of its own. Obviously not necessarily it has to be the 10th, but a 10th Amendment of its own that says, okay, the majority of the power goes, any other power goes down to, besides these few things, goes down to the localities. But alas, we live in a state, at least, that legislates counties and localities more than it should. So you're right. But we should, there's a way that states should be doing it. They just don't. And we as a people don't actually fight against it in any way that's important. Let me see what else we got some going on in here. Good point. Everything. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in. I got a few more stories I want to get into. That was the end of the Danville one. An unlikely duo. This is kind of off the rails from everything else I was talking about, but this is a Wednesday. It's not necessarily my full organized show. It's just, and I also have finals coming up next week. So I'll be honest, this was a lot less of an organized show than ones in the past, but I do appreciate you guys tuning in. AOC and Matt Gaetz. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Matt Gaetz team up to ban stock trading among lawmakers. Okay, so this is according to the Daily Wire. It came out with a lot of things, and it's an interesting policy. I want to take a look at it and do a little bit more. But I want to start off with the fact that we know how much, and this is anti-Republican and anti-Democrat. You want to know how I know that there's so much political theater that happens in the world? How I know that there's a large amount of political theater is that Matt Gaetz and AOC in the media hate each other. I'm pretty sure, and I don't know this for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if AOC blatantly called Matt Gaetz a pedophile at one point, and Matt Gaetz has probably called AOC a whore. Wouldn't surprise me if that had happened. But now they're willing to team up and they look buddy-buddy on this bill. That's how I know that it's all political theater, that they're all actors. A lot of politicians are actors in that sense. But Democratic and Republican lawmakers, including conservative firebrand Matt Gaetz and leftist rising star AOC, proposed a bill that would ban members of Congress from trading individual stocks. Several prominent lawmakers have been accused in recent years of using their intimate knowledge about forthcoming regulations or economic tumult to purchase stocks at opportune times and reduce losses by selling shares. The legislative proposal, entitled the Bipartisan Restoring Faith in Government Act, would prohibit lawmakers, their spouses, and their dependents from purchasing individual stocks or derivatives. The fact that members of Congress, of the Progressive Caucus, and the Freedom Caucus, and the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus reflect the entirety of the political spectrum, can find common ground on key issues like this, should send a powerful message to America. Brian Fitzpatrick, another sponsor of the bill, said in a statement, "We must move forward on the issues that unite us, including our firm belief that trust in government must be restored and that members of Congress, including their dependents, must be prohibited from trading stocks while they are serving in Congress and have access to sensitive inside information." So basically, they're trying to ban. So they've been trying to ban these stocks from representatives being able to actually purchase stocks when they're within their position. As many as 97 lawmakers or their immediate family members purchased or sold assets related to their legislative committee work between 2019 and 2021, according to an analysis published last year by the New York Times. Paul Pelosi, an investor and husband of Rep. Nancy Pelosi, as well as Elaine Chao, a Republican who served as transportation secretary and wife of current Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, traded individual stocks while their spouses were in leadership positions. Okay. So I don't necessarily think this is a bad idea, but I think it kind of sets a bad precedent. I think we should, frankly, maybe I'm old fashioned, but I don't think that we should be having to tell representatives not to do this. I think that we should be electing people that are good enough to just say, I'm not going to trade stocks, or I'm going to recuse myself from this decision because I have a conflict of interest. We should be electing people that are that good. But alas, if we live in an imperfect society, and I think this is an interesting legislative position that should pass. I just want to make sure also, though, that it doesn't prohibit people from doing things like Roth IRAs or different types of investments like that. You shouldn't be completely barred from investing just because you are in Congress. I think that's kind of is an issue. We should also just lower the amount that Congress officials make. Period. So that's that story. I really think that one's interesting. I am going to wrap up here soon, but I do have one more segment. This is a new, I'm going to go through some of your guys' comments one more time. Man, my neck hurts from all this political tennis back and forth. Absolutely, Raven. Absolutely. It is back and forth all the time. Still have rights as American citizens. I'm just curious. Yeah, they do. And that's kind of like where I kind of get bundled with this one, because I'm kind of like screwed up. I don't like the idea of them insider trading, but I also think that it's a problem that they do. I don't know. It's back and forth. I think that every American should have the right to trade stock, but if you are, I think you should be investigated for, maybe we just start doing investigations on people that have insider trading. I don't necessarily think it should be banned. Term limits is another one that I go back and forth on. Interesting topic. I think the thing about term limits that's difficult is nowhere in the Constitution. It's clear. The Constitution is clear when it comes to term limits. I believe. Well, we added an amendment for term limits for president. If we wanted to do term limits, it would have to be through an amendment. I don't think it just should be through an amendment, because term limits, especially for congressional officials, is just we should be implying term limits or applying term limits to our officials, whether or not there are term limits there. We should be an educated enough populace to say this representative is bad and does not represent me. And so we should then get him fired or her fired, and we should elect someone new. We should be a good enough populace to do that. But alas, we are not. Okay, I'm going to go. There's a new segment I want to do. It's going to be called, and I'll make an intro for it eventually, but I just kind of came up with it today. It's called Things My Girlfriend Told Me to Do. So today we're going to be doing something my girlfriend told me to do. There's a YouTube video that she told me about this thing. It's called like The Button or The Button Show. It's like a dating show or something. I've never really seen it before. And she told me that I should react to it. I don't know. Maybe it's kind of political. So let's take a look at this. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I've never seen it before. And I hope I don't I'm doing it at the end because it might end up getting copyrighted or something. But we're going to react to this show, The Button. Let's do this right here.
I don't know if I have like a specific purpose in that. There's no goal that
I
accompanies
can
it.
hear it.
You don't seem to have any direction
You
in life.
guys can. Let me remove it and try this again. Unmute site. My site was muted. That was my issue. Here we go, everybody. So let's react to this show.
I want to travel a lot for sure. I don't know if I have like a specific purpose in that. There's no goal that accompanies it. You don't seem to have any direction in life, whereas I know exactly where I'm going and what I want, and I don't want to have to babysit someone.
Welcome to The Button, a speed dating show. When the button lights up red, either player may press it and swap out their date for a new person.
Oh, this is so stupid.
If two people can last on a date for 10 minutes, they win an all expenses paid second date.
This is The Button.
Hello.
My name's Serena.
They probably found the most shallow people in the world to do this.
Okay, what's a big ick for you?
Absolutely, Raven.
Hygiene.
Can he smell your armpits?
The fuck? No, I barely know him. I don't want like a stranger to touch me. Like he seems totally chill, but like I barely even hug my mom.
All right, so
This is so stupid.
Not your love language.
It's just like culturally, it's not super common.
Serena,
Nice to meet you.
This is
Yes,
so
yes. Oh,
shallow.
hi.
You think you know
Serena.
somebody over like
Nice
2
to meet
seconds?
you.
Tell me what you live for, what you plan to die for.
My cats.
That's
believe they're full?
so forward.
I mean, I don't know if I believe in souls necessarily because I'm not religious. But
Relative to humans as well.
Well, I
Hit the
believe
button.
there's
She's not religious. Hit the button.
Right, were
I
you-
would hit the
were you
button
born
immediately.
with
She's
that?
not
I
religious.
was, but I rejected it in majority pretty
Why
much
did you reject it?
because I just wasn't really about it. I didn't want to give
Who got it first?
me 100%.
I don't believe in God.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Good, good. I like this guy. This guy has got my vote right now. I like this guy.
Austin.
Mochi.
Hey,
Nice to
absolute
meet
pleasure. Yeah.
Nice. What were you up to this week?
Nothing really that interesting.
Boring
I
question to
just
start
got out of the
with.
military, so I'm looking for
Oh.
work and all that. So in a transition period.
I tried to get in the military twice, and they did not want my ass.
How long were you passionate for that?
Not at all.
No, it just
Not.
came and went?
It was a minor thing.
So what do you hope to achieve in your life?
I want to travel a lot
So
for sure.
the whole premise of this is that you have to be able to make it for 10 minutes with another person. Okay. I have been doing this stream now for 1 hour and 8 minutes. And I was able to talk. I mean, like, yes, okay, I do have some of you guys like in the comments and stuff, and I am talking to you through that. But for the most part, I feel like I'm kind of talking to myself in a little bit, you know? Like no one else is in this room with me. I am all alone here. And I can do that for 1 hour. This says a lot about young people that they can't last 10 minutes talking to each other. But let's keep going with this because it's kind of funny.
I don't know if I have like a specific purpose in that.
There's no goal that accompanies it. You don't seem to have any direction in life, whereas I know exactly where I'm going and what I want. And
I love this guy. This guy is the best, smartest person on the show so far from the 2 minutes I've watched of it.
granted, that's nothing wrong with that, but because I know where I'm at and where I'm going, I don't want to have to babysit someone to where I am. So,
Valid.
hello, pleasure, Austin.
Hi, Austin.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Irish.
Irish?
Yeah.
I like that.
Irish.
How'd you get that name?
I don't know.
Your parents just gave it to you?
She's
Did-
not
Yeah, well,
Irish.
they looked at me and they thought I looked like Irish.
What?
Very well.
So what are you into? What are your hobbies?
I
I'm
don't
a
mean
writer,
to be like,
musician,
I'm not prejudiced.
martial arts,
She seems like a
and,
nice girl, but like
theology.
she's not Irish. Like that's kind of obvious.
What more do
Like
you want to know?
the
a
difference
factual
between,
statement.
like Jesus Christ and God.
Okay, Jesus Christ is God, but if you want to like go against other
Okay, now
religions,
he's
you can
kind of
see
steaming
how
a little.
Islam talks about Muhammad as a sole prophet.
What was your name?
Austin.
Okay, I liked him at first, but now he's kind of going off the deep end. I don't really like where he's going. Now he seems like he's just being critical of people for the purpose of being critical of people. Kind of crazy. But let's keep going and see how Austin keeps doing here.
Allie.
It's a very pleasure to meet you.
Very pleasure to meet you too. I like your style.
Thank you.
You look like you read books.
I try to read, but I'm not really adept at reading, if I'm like completely honest.
I don't know why your aesthetic was giving reads books, but it was a compliment.
I take it as such, so I appreciate it.
How important
What's going on with
is
his
faith?
teeth too?
How important is faith?
100%. And at the end of the day, if you reject Christ the King, it's a no-go.
Like I agree with that.
100%.
Cool. I'm
They
a Christian
seem-
too.
Okay,
As a
perfect
Christian,
for each
can
other
you
so
tell me
far.
a little bit about the gospel of Jesus Christ and how that goes.
Is he testing her?
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
testing her
like
about
the gospel is
Christianity. Who is
basically
this guy?
that
Who is this guy
Jesus
thinking?
was here and died for our sins, and yeah, His Spirit guides us.
Is that the same Jesus who died and rose again 3 days
He's
later?
testing her. He's like, are you really as Christian as I want you to be? That's what he's saying. Are you? Oh my God. You know the gospel? Tell me about the gospel.
Believe in the resurrection.
Yes,
Excellent. If that's genuine, I 100% accept that.
that's yeah.
So I guess my question is, growing up in that foundation, was it kind of like a thing you just kind of swallowed without challenging it? Doubt is not indicative. Unfortunate.
It was just a little intense, and that's all. It felt a little bit like
Overwhelming.
intense. Yeah.
Yeah, he did seem a little intense. I'll give her that.
Hello.
All right, let's see who she gets now.
How's it going?
Okay, so it's
Good.
whoever
I'm
gets
Michael,
the
by the way.
button first. I didn't realize that until like now really. So whoever gets to the button first, that's who gets to do this. And this is a dating show. Dating is so monotonous now. Apparently, you need to be able to cut somebody off mid-sentence because they're too boring or too annoying or just not attractive enough. Anything. This is how shallow we've gotten, everybody.
I'm Allie.
I really like your hair.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll
Good
let
way to
your nails
start.
too.
Like this guy so
Ooh,
far. Oh,
I
now
just
he's
cut them
overdoing it.
short.
He's overdoing
Now
it a
I'm,
little
like,
bit.
Kind of mean.
Do you prefer short nails?
I kind of do. Yeah. But you like long nails.
I mean,
Are you gonna press the button?
no.
for short nails?
Are you gonna? No.
What
do you do?
Okay, that's an interesting. I need to see how it keeps going here, but that was kind of like negging. It's this like idea. I think it's called negging, negging. It's this idea that like you compliment somebody and then you kind of give them a backwards compliment or something that's kind of an insult a little bit, but it's a small enough insult where they're not mad at you, but you can kind of create conversation further with it. Very interesting. He dresses like, this was funny. I think it was about the last guy. He dresses like grocery bags caught in an updraft. That's funny. All right, let's keep going with this video.
Do for a living.
I'm the head of marketing at a product company.
Good for her.
Oh, you should got a real job.
Yeah, I have
real
a big
job.
girl job.
You're actually
like-
really pretty.
she's-
But,
So,
She's really
would
pretty.
you say you two are hitting it off?
She's
more
got a
than
real
that, I
job.
hope so. You know what I'm saying?
He
I
wants
think
that
I'm
money. He's over here like, oh my God, she's actually got a real job. This guy doesn't have a real job. Apparently, that's what it sounds like. But
Lead it off with Michael, but I feel like I don't know a lot about you. So I've got questions for you.
Okay, I got answers.
I feel like you might be a baby, and I might be
A what?
a baby, like a little baby.
A baby?
Yeah,
baby.
like
Oh.
you might be like younger than me, like way younger than me. Wait, how old are you?
I'm 27.
Oh, okay, that's not that bad. I thought you could
Because
be
you
like 23.
said that? Oh. Yeah, but
It's flattery.
now well, I don't want to guess your age. You should never ask a woman their
Oh,
age.
I'm 30.
she does not look 30.
What?
Good for her. She doesn't look 30. Good for her. She looks younger than 30. Good for her.
3 years? She's like that senior girl, that popular cheerleader that I've always had a crush on. So yeah, no, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Wow, I really
Okay.
like your eyes. You know.
Oh, I'm like being like struck by your compliments, Michael.
I'm a little smitten. I'm not gonna lie. So
I do have another question.
Uh-huh.
Okay, say you're having like a super relaxed day.
mhm.
What food are you ordering, and what show are you comfort rewatching?
Oh my gosh. Okay,
It's a
so
good question.
it's been like dating reality TV shows.
Oh,
Yes,
Like
and-
what?
Oh, Too Hot to Handle? Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's totally like
Um,
it's something. You know why he's saying that? He's saying that so that he can try to get in. He's like, oh man, like I'm gonna say I'm watching shows that she'll also like because then I'll be able to. Then she'll be able to think, oh, we could watch that together. He's smart. This guy's smart. He's playing the game. He's got what I've heard from young people is called the Riz, meaning that like he's got moves. he's got the Riz, and so that's kind of what. Let's keep seeing how this man does.
Tacos and French fries, or just French fries in general.
Wait.
Uh-huh.
Wait, can you order tacos and French fries from the same place, or
No,
do you have to double?
Double.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
heard that was called a bang bang.
A bang bang?
I literally.
I guess I like the
This
bang
guy's got
bang.
Riz.
Okay, I'm gonna light it up. If you don't hit me, then it looks like you two are going on a second date.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Congrats.
Good for them. So happy my girlfriend told me I had to watch that on my live stream. Love that. Everybody, those are pretty much all the stories I got for today. If you guys, anything you guys like, make sure to comment and share, subscribe, everything like that. I have more videos and shorts coming out by the end of the week. I obviously have another live stream next Sunday from 3 to 5. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your week over the summer. So my finals week is next week. Over the summer, I plan on trying to do even more content throughout the week. So make sure you are like, subscribe, share, ring that notification bell. Make sure you hit it to all so you never miss a minute, of any of my content. Really appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Hoping and praying that every one of you, last one of you, is doing great. Bye-bye.